he left a message. Very cryptic.
Did you get a name?
Yes. Sokolov. Justine Sokolov.
Hey everyone, this is Maggie, and today we're gonna break down and explain Things Heard and Seen ending. We will be talking about this movie in depth, so beware big spoilers flying your way. In the Netflix horror thriller film Things Heard and Seen, wife and husband filmmaking duo Shari Berman and Robert Pulcini approach the common tropes of both genres with an amount of indie liberty. And the result of it is a dark and riveting drama that is feministic and philosophical at its core. The story revolves around a New York City art historian couple, George Clare and Catherine Clare, who relocate the fictional town of Chosen in Hudson Valley with their daughter Franny in 1980s after George gets hired to teach at a liberal arts college at Saginaw. As the film progresses, Catherine begins to learn horrifying secrets about their new house and George's past, and finds unlikely allies among the paranormal. The film explores the very nature of both good and evil and how they attract their own kinds. Here is everything you need to know about the Things Heard and Seen ending. From an outsider's point of view, George and Catherine seem to have a perfect marriage, and they have striven to maintain that facade, even hiding their dark, imperfect selves from each other. Catherine struggles with an eating disorder, and George has borrowed a significant amount of money from his parents to support his family. According to George, they desperately need a new start. So Catherine quits her lucrative job in the city and moves with her husband and daughter to Chosen, where they make a 19th century sprawling farmhouse their home. Not long after they settle in, Catherine and Franny realize that their new home is haunted, but George initially scoffs the idea. But the light goes on and off on its own accord. There is static on the radio, even if its plug is pulled out of the socket. And George and Catherine can smell the ever-increasing stench of exhaust fumes in their bedrooms. George begins a brief and sordid affair with the local young woman, Willis. The marriage and the lies that George has told Catherine and the others start to unravel. Catherine discovers the female spirit inside their house is not necessarily malevolent and seeks out the help of George's boss, Floyd de Beers, who is an ardent follower of Swedish theologian Emanuel Swedenborg. George's inherent personality has drawn the attention of certain spirits as well, and they are indeed malicious. As she finds out secret after secret that George has been carefully hidden, Catherine finds a young lover of her own, Eddie.
I've seen her. And so has my daughter.
Because she's here for you. She wants you to know that.
Yes, George kills Catherine. He also killed Floyd and his older cousin, whom he claimed died in the sea, and put Justice in a coma. As Floyd and his group of Swedenborg admirers explained to Catherine before the seance, if a person is inherently good, they would draw benevolent spirits to their home. After they move in, it doesn't take long for both Catherine and her daughter to realize that they share their home with a spirit. Initially, Catherine believes that the woman that she and Franny keep seeing is Mrs. Smith, the wife of the house's original owner, a Calvinist preacher. After speaking to the realtor, she realizes that it is actually Ella Vell, the matriarch of the family that previously occupied the house. She also learns that the realtor that Eddie and Cole, the boys she had met, are Ella's children. Calvin, Ella's husband, gave Ella and the boys sedatives before turning on the engine of 2 cars and then joining Ella on the bed. This makes Catherine finally understand why she keeps smelling exhaust fumes every night in their bedroom, located right on top of the garage. As Catherine's kindness and compassion draws Ella as her protector, George's deceitful, ambitious, and violent personality draws Calvin's attention. The art pieces that George displays at his office have earned him much praise over the years. It is revealed that his cousin actually painted them. George tells Floyd that his talented cousin died at sea when he was 19 years old. But Catherine figures out that George killed him and has claimed the art as his own. After Floyd learns that George has given him a forged recommendation letter, he tells him that he will inform HR, making it clear to the younger man that it will eventually lead to his firing. During their excursion on Floyd's boat, George kills Floyd, likely in the same manner in which he killed his cousin, and swims to the shore. This is why when Justice sees him later, he's thoroughly drenched. As his conversation with his old professor reveals, George's dissertation was not accepted, and most likely, he doesn't even have a PhD. So he's not qualified to teach at any school, with or without a recommendation letter. He tries to kill Justine when she reveals to him that she knows about his affair with Willis. Fortunately, she survives the ensuing accident, but goes into a coma. As his descent towards evil intensifies, George becomes almost like a vessel for Calvin. George also uses sedatives to knock his wife out, but he desperately tries not to commit that final act of killing his wife. However, Calvin overwhelms him and takes control, killing Catherine with an axe. Catherine finds a ring lodged on the kitchen window. After realizing Ella wore it before her, she put it on. At one point, she tries to give it to Eddie, but the latter asks her to keep it, knowing that she will need his mother's protection. The film's final moments reveal that the ring originally belongs to Mrs. Smith, who was also a victim of her husband's brutality.
I am here for you.
The ring forms a connection between the women, a bridge that links the past to the present. When Ella was alive and desperately trying to survive her violent husband and her children, she was likely protected by Mrs. Smith, or maybe a woman who lived in that house in the intermediate period and was also a victim of spouse abuse. Meanwhile, the malevolence seems to have been passed on from one male resident of the house to the next due to their inherently evil nature. The moment Catherine dies, the ring falls from her finger as the male viciousness has overcome its protection. The connection that the woman shared is not required now either because Catherine has transcended the mortal world. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notifications about our latest videos. Yes, George ultimately pays a hefty price for his sins. The film evidently draws its title from one of Swedenborg's popular works, Heaven and Its Wonders, The World of Spirits and Hell, from Things Heard and Seen, and is heavily influenced by the theologian's work. The book itself makes multiple appearances throughout the film. It is what Floyd gives George as a welcome gift. Although George has zero interest in mysticism, Catherine is drawn to it like a moth to a flame, especially after the paranormal encounters at their house. Towards the end of the film, George receives a message from Justine, who has woken and is about to reveal all his crimes to the authorities. He subsequently sets out on his cousin's old boat, not heeding the warnings of an official at the harbor. As he prepares for the journey, the audience can be forgiven if they mistakenly think that he is heading out to kill Justine. However, when he meets a storm front in the middle of the sea, it becomes clear that he has set out to rendezvous with his reckoning. The damned, like Calvin and Mr. Smith, have called out to him, and he answers with all the zeal and determination of a fanatic. After all, they are ultimately kindred. In his final moments, George becomes part of a recreation of George Inness's, an artist who Swedenborg seemingly and heavily influenced, The Valley of the Shadow and Death, which appears as the cover art for Swedenborg's book and begins his journey to hell.
Because of you, our powers grow. From tiny drops.
Thanks for watching, everyone! Please make sure to give the video a like and subscribe with that bell on to get notified as soon as one of our videos comes out.